Mistakes I did in 17 years of a raw vegan diet. I have been eating raw food, primarily fruits and vegetable diet for 17 years. And these were my main mistake that most people also do it. Hi. I'm known in Brazil as Dr. Corassa because I'm a clinical nutritionist that have been the main raw food educator for almost 15 years now. And in this long journey of adopting almost by myself a raw food diet, I learned many things and I made many mistakes. So I want to share these mistakes with you so you don't make the same. First mistake I did, in the beginning, I underate, so I got really skinny. So the main thing you have to understand is you have to eat enough calories to maintain your weight. So not eating enough fruits is the primarily mistake people make it, because you can eat a lot of vegetables and you can even eat a lot of fats to meet your caloric needs, but it's not as healthy and you will not look as good because the carbohydrate in our muscles and in our physiology works different than fat and protein. So to get a good look, you need the carbohydrate. The glycogen in our muscles diluted by water will make you look normal instead of too skinny. So you must understand that fruits must be the basis of a diet who's trying to become a raw vegan or a raw foodist, because vegetables are not as tasty and not as caloric, so we can eat enough to satisfy our hunger. And fats are too much fat and you end up feeling lousy if you overeat on nuts and seeds and avocados. So understand that you have to eat a high carbohydrate diet to be succeeded in any kind of health achievement, but also in maintaining a raw food diet in the long run. Second mistake, not enough vegetables. Yes, you have to eat enough vegetables to satisfy your nutritional needs, because most people think that they can live off fruits, but that is not true. If you try to live on fruit, maybe for a day, a week, and even a little bit more than that, but in the long run, you end up getting serious nutritional deficiencies. So you need the vegetables for minerals, for phytonutrients, for different kinds of fiber, for different varieties of nutrients in proportions, to get an adequate amount of protein and even fats. Yes, vegetables has a little bit more fat than fruits. So you have even the omega-3, the ALA, the alpha-linoleic acid, I think it's the name in English. So you can get omega-3 also from kale, for example. So what would be enough fruits and vegetables to satisfy our needs? Depends on a lot of factors: body weight, sex, height, physical activity, amount of muscle. But in average, you should aim at least, if you're doing a raw food diet, 20 portions of fruits and maybe 5 to 10 portions of vegetables per day. That it would be like 2 kilos of fruit and around a kilo of vegetable per day. That would be a good average for most people, for the average person not being really active, etc. Third mistake, avoiding fats. A lot of people try to do a no-fat diet without understanding that we need fats and they are good, but in the right amounts. A little bit goes a long way. So we don't need a lot of fat, just like a handful, 2 handfuls, maybe even 3 handfuls per day, depending on the person, depending on the conditions, depending on even the change of diet, because a lot of people need a little bit more fat for the taste, for the satiation, and that is okay. We don't need to be too precise with that. In terms of nutritional science, there is not enough to say that we shouldn't eat as low fat as possible, but for sure, I agree that I feel my best with as lowest fat as possible. I even went months already without any overfats, without any nuts, seeds, avocado, coconuts. But to make sure you're eating enough fat, make sure you eat at least a handful of nuts and seeds a day. Fourth mistake, don't worry about B12. I was told by many people that no, we are raw fooders, we eat the way nature intended, so we won't get B12 deficiency. That's a lie. So you have to realize that you should worry about B12. Do blood work. It's quite cheap checking your B12 levels. It must be above 490 nanograms per milliliter. The most common measurement is picograms. So would be above 490 picograms to be the best amount of B12 in the blood. And also for picomoles, I don't remember exactly, but it would be probably above 350, maybe 400. Picomoles is a little bit less the number. B12 is an issue, not just for vegans, but also for omnivores. So make sure you test for B12. If you're low in B12, you need to supplement. There's no other way. For sure, there's probably a lot of things that science must understand, realize it. Maybe fasting can improve the nutrition of the body and help to absorb more B12. You have to check for factors that damage the B12 absorption. For example, metformin, a remedy for diabetics, or omeprazole, a remedy for indigestion. There's a lot of things that we have to realize that can damage B12 absorption. So yes, if you're a vegan, you have to supplement B12. If you're not a vegan, if you're not worried too much and you're trying to supplement and your B12 level is not going up, I don't feel bad when I recommend to my patients doing a little bit of fish or eggs, because although I really care about the vegan movement and the animals, because I have seen vegans trying to supplement B12 and not working as well. So when B12 goes low, other nutrients can go low as well. So you're trying just to supplement B12 and it's not going up. I don't see an issue until we know every kind of detail about vegan diets to recommend more of a blue zone consumption of animal products parameter. The blue zones consumes like around 4% of their total caloric intake from animal protein. That would be like a little bit of fish in the weekends. I don't recommend that for vegans. I don't think it's ethical, but still, if you're suffering from B12 deficiency, you need to be cautious because it can cause irreversible damage. So really long-term vegans or raw vegans can go into really serious issues with B12. 5 parameter, emphasizing just diet. Yeah, a lot of people think that diet is the end all and be all, it's the panacea, but diet is just a small part of health. So you need to understand that diet is really important nowadays because people are eating junk food. People eating junk food is similar as people trying to sleep just 3 hours per night. That's why diet is so important nowadays, because diet has been the worst parameter of health for human beings. The thing that we deviate the most, but diet is not more important than the other parameters. It's just that in diet terms, we do a lot of bad things with our diet. So yes, diet is really important, but don't just focus on diet. Exercising every day, sleeping early, having dinner early, being physically active, sunshine, social interactions, avoiding exposure to environmental toxins like petrochemicals, heavy metals, chronobiology, chrononutrition, interaction with nature, yes, being around plants and their phytoncides and a lot of other benefits. I'll put some links below so you guys can check it out, the forest therapy benefits, and some also on the cards. These are as important as diets. Are you interested in learning more about the science and art of fasting? I wrote the best and most comprehensive book on fasting since Herbert Shelton. So if you want to understand the hygienic fasting and why they used to call nature surgery, this book is a must read. It's already available in English on Amazon, on Kindle, and print on demand. So you can receive a hard copy of this book on your house in just a few days. Don't miss this opportunity. The most comprehensive and scientific book with bibliographical numerical references out there, with more than 222 pages. 6 parameter, emphasizing food combining over other health parameters. Yes, raw fooders usually take 1 or just 2 small details. There's no scientific consensus. There's a really big thing, and they make a really big thing out of it. So yes, for sure, I'm not criticizing food combining. That's for sure. It is a thing, but exercising every day, going to bed early, there's a lot of health parameters that is more important in terms of empirical for me, and also more important for science than worrying about food combining in the beginning. So in the beginning, you are too crude, too new for all these concepts. And it's like juggling balls. You cannot juggle 8 balls in the beginning. You have to take it slow and go learning and learning. So in the beginning, don't worry too much about food combining. I would rather exercise every day than pay attention to food combining. I would rather have dinner early than, for example, having raw broccoli or steamed broccoli. So these small details, like only focusing on raw foods, only focusing on food combining, these are not as good. So you have to pay attention on the whole. It's more important for individual parts. 7 mistake, trying to be too pure. That's probably one of the main mistakes people are making. Why? Because for sure, we are made as frugivores. We are made as anthropoid primates to eat primarily fruits and vegetables. But we don't know every kind of nutritional detail yet. So, looking to bonobos, the second chimpanzee in nature, for example, now they have been seen eating algae from the bottom of the lakes. Bonobos, for example, eat mushrooms. So people try to take the frugivore idea, the concept, to its extreme and trying a fruitarian diet, trying to eat only fruits or only fruits and vegetables. But that is not the goal. The goal in terms of science, nutritional science, for sure, it's to eat more fruits and vegetables, more raw foods. But I eat mushrooms, I eat legumes, I eat algae. I love nori sheets, for example. I like kombu, wakame. I'm not as strict with my diet as I once was. For sure, I'm still a raw fooder. I still eat 99% of fruits and vegetables in my day. But I always put some legumes like peas, fresh peas or fresh beans, or some sprouted lentils. Or I eat some nuts and seeds more often than I used to in the beginning because I was too worried about fat. I eat mushrooms whenever I can. I love them. I eat some algae, for sure. Algae has iodine. Maybe we don't need it, but it's not going to hurt you to eat a little bit of algae here and there. Probably more probable to meet your nutrition needs so you don't go deficient in every kind of nutrient, as a lot of people in the raw food movement in the last few years have been showing deficient and maybe even dying. I love everybody, I know they're doing their best, but sometimes they're taking too extreme and don't realize they end up dying without realizing that their diets, their restricted diet is killing themselves. So be flexible. If there is any kind of nutritional deficiency, any kind of symptoms that is showing up and is not going away, try to consider that your diet may be lacking on an essential nutrient. Yeah, for sure, I like veganism. For the concept of veganism, that's for sure. But there's no long-term vegan societies that we can study. Well, I like to live on fruits and vegetables, but that means I'm going to live on fruits and vegetables only, you know, and if it's not working, I'm going to continue doing the same thing. I did a few videos about Robert Lockhart that died recently. I heard that Dave Klein also died recently. Zara Darch, for example. These people are taking things too extreme. So be flexible. Unfortunately saying, even with your vegan diet, if it's not working, don't kill yourself trying to be as pure as you can. Although I believe in being as pure as we can in diets, I'm flexible to realize that I may make mistakes and we still don't know every kind of nutritional detail for the human body and in foods. So 7th tip is be flexible with your diets. Don't take it too extreme because diet's just one part. So fasting, exercise, sleeping early, all these things counts. So there's a lot of people living to 100, eating meat and, you know, like living and having a more common diet. So understand that health is a holistic approach. A lot of things that counts, not just one thing. If you want my help as a clinical nutritionist, I attend patients online and in private sessions, person-to-person sessions. I also have 10 books published. They're all still in Portuguese, but the first one is already available on Amazon, The Hygienic Fasting Nature Surgery. So I highly recommend you to read it. It's a great book and it's available on Amazon, print on demand, and on Kindle. Also, I run retreats in Brazil and we have 6 online courses, but they're still all in Portuguese. But the consultations and the next book is coming out in a few months on Amazon as well. So make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, share this video, press the bell for notifications, and if you like the topic, click these videos to know more.